What is going on, everybody? Today I thought I would give you guys a commentary of an OPR game I had a couple days ago that was pretty good, and just kind of walk you through my thought process as I play the game, because I've had a lot of people ask me like, oh, how do you get such high scores as a tank build, and like, what are you doing an intelligence tank? Makes no sense. Like, how are you performing this well? So I figured I'd just walk through some of my gameplay, kind of the decisions that I make, and how you can help your team to win games. So just starting out here, one thing you might notice is that I swap between gear sets. I have a gear set that's pretty much just built for speed with a hatchet and light armor and a bow, and that helps me get around the map faster because I do usually play in heavy armor and it takes a hot minute to get to mid from base. But that will probably be irrelevant in the next update since we will have mounts to get around, so that'll be pretty nice. And getting right into the gameplay here, I am standing in the doorway just trying to build some space for my team. I do unfortunately go down there. I think I got a little too far into the base before my healers could really get to me and make sure I was topped off, so a little bit of a misplay on my part. I got a little too aggressive, but it is what it is. That's kind of the nature of the game sometimes when you're playing tank and you're not in combos with people. You can't really guarantee that you're going to get heals. But anyway, we respawn, see that they've already taken mid, and most likely are going to be pushing moon, so that's where we end up deciding to go. And just reinforce the moon base, because usually what'll happen in these OPR games is if we get steamrolled at mid, the entire enemy team will push up to our home base outpost and try and steamroll us there too. One option you can do is try and go behind them and try and take back Sun, which usually works pretty well if they're really zerging, but it looks like these guys only brought about 10 people to moon, so I figured it would be better to go reinforced there. And it seems like I'm one of the only tanks, like true tanks on our team, so I'm usually leading the charge here into the outposts and just trying to disrupt the enemies, kind of push them apart with rupture and make space for my team to get in without dying. At this point we have killed a lot of them and we're kind of pushing them apart, and my main goal right now is to just stand on point and apply pressure if they are off point with my ice gauntlet, and try and secure kills for the people chasing them down. One thing that a lot of people in OPR seem to forget is that you actually need to stand on the point in order for it to capture, and it's faster the more people you have standing on it, so it's kind of frustrating to see when a lot of my teammates run off to go chase one person in the woods when we could be capturing the point. But that didn't really happen in this game too much. My teammates were pretty good about capping the points, but sometimes it can happen. So here I see that there's a conflict in mid, so I'm just running to mid to try and help my team out. By the time I get there, it looks like we've pretty much won already, so I try to just help them out and secure kills. When there's too many melee people trying to kill one person, I usually swap to my ice gauntlet and apply ranged pressure, and that's just because if there's a lot of melee people hitting the same guy, they'll body block you, so you won't actually be able to hit them if you're in a big clump. And now that we've captured mid, I was going to go push star, but I see that there's a couple red players trying to flank around us to backcap, so I decide to chase them instead. And they are pretty outnumbered here, so it's not really a hard fight for us to win here. I do swap to onslaught stance here because we have the numbers and I'm not really worried about taking too much damage. While we were fighting these guys, it looks like the Reds did reinforce mid a little bit, so now I'm trying to work on getting back through the door and pushing those guys out of the way for my team. Luckily I do have healers behind me, so I am able to just stand there and tank damage. But I am struggling a little bit to actually do much damage myself. So I do manage to get through the door here while they're distracted by one of my teammates. So now I'm just trying to draw some aggro from some of the red players off of the doorway so that more of my team can get in. And the reds start to go down because we did manage to take out one of their healers, and without the heals they don't have anything to sustain them, and they fall pretty easily. And at this point, now that we've captured mid, we decide to push star a little bit. There's still 3 minutes left on the Baron, so there's not really anything else to do. I'm going to make sure to take out this guy before we go there though, so that he doesn't try and backcap us, because there's nothing more annoying than getting your back two bases taken while you're at the enemy base by a single person. So here I'm just kind of leading the charge, trying to get my team to follow me towards star and not get distracted in the woods. I do end up taking a lot of ranged pressure here, so I have to back off a little bit. We end up getting some good picks here, so we can push a little bit forward and be more aggressive. And we have some healers there to back us up as well. This is usually a pretty good pinch point for the enemy though, because it's a good spot for their range to kind of stay back and we all funnel into the same spot so they can get easy damage on us. So I usually don't try to push out up here unless we do have healers to back us up. So right now my team is getting a little distracted killing people in the woods, but they are stopping them from getting around our main army, so it's not necessarily a bad thing to kill people back there. It just delays our progress a little bit towards star. So now I'm kind of just running into their backline, trying to cause chaos, not really trying to secure kills necessarily, but just trying to make the enemy panic and allowing my team to push up more. And here I'm kind of just trying to target the door, but there are some reds around that I kind of have to deal with first. One thing I will say in OPR that I think needs to be addressed is being able to repair doors as they take damage, which is kind of busted and needs to be changed a little bit, I think, to where maybe there's a 5 seconds delay before you can repair a door. And it didn't really happen that much in this game, but in a lot of games it'll just become a stalemate because you'll have your entire team hitting a door while they're repairing it for a good 2 minutes and lose the game because of it, which just seems kind of silly to me. But Who knows, maybe that's intended game design, what do I know. At this point, the Reds are starting to outnumber us. My team did back off a little bit to go secure Baron, and I didn't realize it at the time, so I'm kind of just still fighting here, and then I realize, oh no, I don't really have any more sacred grounds to stand in, and I'm outnumbered, so yeah, not an ideal situation for me. I do end up going down here, and really that is, out of all the times that I die in this build, that's the thing that'll get you killed the most, is just getting too far behind the enemy lines and then your team ends up retreating and you're left alone. So if you are good about making sure that you're with your team, you probably won't die. So now that I've died here, I do see that Baron is still alive, and I know that most of the Reds were still at their base fighting me and that other guy. So I figure I might be able to get to Baron before them and help with my team. So that's usually what I try to do. So I see Baron's at about 60% health, and so I just come in here to try and clean up the Reds. You want to make sure that all of the Reds inside of the Baron pit are dead before you actually go for the Baron, because it only takes one fire staff to steal it from like 10 people hitting it, which is kind of ridiculous, but the number of times that's happened to me just makes me so that I always make sure the Reds are dead and try to watch the doors as we're taking it down. And fun fact, if you don't know, Baron now drops 50 Azoth Essence for everybody who helps kill it. So make sure you pick that up if you're in the Baron pit. So right now, we see that Sun has been taken, so I'm heading back to Sun right now to make sure that we can secure that point capture. Just kind of throwing out ice walls and snowstorms to kind of split up the enemy and make it harder for them to group up and kill our boys. And I do swap into Onslaught stance here again just because there's not really any danger of me being attacked by a whole group of enemies. Whenever an enemy throws an enemy grav well on me, I try to ice wall it, just because 9 times out of 10, once they grav well you, they're going to run straight for you, so it's a pretty easy way to get a snare on a bunch of enemies at the same time. And at this point we've gotten a couple different picks here, so we do outnumber them by a bit now. We can afford to be a little bit more aggressive and push out at the fort more. So right now, we have both of our points secured, and Baron's not up for another 7 minutes, so We can afford to be a little aggressive and push out into the forest or go for star here. But one thing you don't want to let happen is for a lot of the enemies to get behind your army, because that way they can either backcap you or pinch you in between them and the other part of their army. So we're just being a little bit safe and making sure that we don't get surrounded. There are a lot of ranged people kind of back towards their fort, so right now I'm just trying to put some pressure on them with my ice gauntlet, and then I do get rolled up on here by a couple melee players, so I switch to tanking mode and just kind of try and absorb some damage from my backline. So again, right now I'm kind of just trying to aggro as many people I can onto me to stop them from going for my back line back there who are fighting the other half of their team. And it works out pretty well. But it does look like we're getting outnumbered here by a little bit, and I think they do manage to kill one of our healers, which I don't realize at the time. I'm just busy whacking away at these guys, and then before I know it, there's about 10 reds in between me and my team, and I'm like, oh, how am I gonna get out of here? And yeah, these guys end up teaming up on me, and I can't escape fast enough to heal up and regroup with my team, so I do go down here. And I did forget to buy my battle bread, so I dropped half my Azoth there. But I think I remembered, once I saw that I dropped it, I was like, oh yeah, I have Azoth, I better go buy some battle bread right now, so that's what I do. For tanking, I do like the battle bread better because it does give you a small damage taken reduction as well as damage boost. I would say the Zephyr cakes are nice for 1vx gameplay because it lets you kind of navigate a little better, but especially in this specific build, it doesn't have that many mobility tools to begin with, so I usually do take the battle bread. But unfortunately, I did swap my gear sets to get to mid a little faster, and then when I swapped them back, it did replace the battle bread with the party meals, which is one thing you have to watch out for if you do use those. I like to use those in OPR just because it does give you that extra heal over time if you're pretty low and you don't have a healer with you. But if you eat those, it does cancel out the battle bread effect, so make sure that if you do use battle bread, you have enough and you keep it in your hotbar. So at this point, the reds aren't really grouped up that well. They're kind of just solo running at us, running through the woods. I think they might be trying to go back cap moon. So we're just trying to stop them and take them out while we have the numbers, which is exactly what we do. So we're still holding mid pretty well, and Baron has 2 minutes. Not really enough time to run down to star and take it. So we see some reds out here and decide to just go and attack them instead. And at this point I do see that our healer is kind of getting targeted, so I try and block a little bit of range damage for them, but they do end up going down, which is a bit unfortunate. Shout out to Sama, they're a really good healer. But yeah, we just got a little bit overwhelmed there, so I do see that Baron's about to spawn, and we lost a couple of our members, so I try to disengage a little bit and just run to Baron instead. These guys are trying to kill me. They don't really realize how evasive this build can be, so I just kind of run away from them. And being shot in the back by a cannon a little bit there. But we do end up getting away and making our way to Baron. I probably should have left that fight a little bit sooner to get to Baron, but this way at least I can slow down the reds as they make it there, and my team does end up getting that for us, so that's good. And then this solo Great Axe player tries to go for me. I try to slow him down a little bit, but I don't divert too much of my energy to that because I'd rather get to this group fight and kind of just ignore the solo player because he's not that much of a threat to my team. Whereas if I come up here, I can distract multiple people and they'll have an easier time taking him out. Some nice commentary from this red player here. But at this point, the game is pretty much already won. We're kind of just fighting these guys in the forest here. Not really too concerned about taking star, but we do start making our way that way. And I'm kind of just ignoring these guys because I figure I'd probably be better off just standing on the point in here than trying to solo 2 players when I don't really do enough damage to kill them. And so I realized that once I get in here, the front door isn't down and my team hasn't made it in, so I end up backing up off these stairs. This is one of my favorite spots to stand in a fort because it kind of forces the enemy to group up in front of you, and if you do become overwhelmed, you have an easy escape to just jump off the back. if you're ever fighting outnumbered, trying to introduce some verticality into the fight is always going to benefit you. But at this point, my team has broken through the front door, so I hop back down to get back into the pump fight. But yeah, I think that's going to be about it for this game. If you guys enjoyed this video and this kind of style of educational gameplay and kind of more unedited, just raw footage of OPR, PvP, what have you, let me know in the comments if you want to see more of this. I can definitely do more of these type of videos. They're pretty easy to make. But yeah, with that being said, enjoy the rest of the gameplay, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.